Field Trips features real field stories told by real ASCE members.
Hi, I'm Wystan Carswell, and I've been a geotechnical engineer at Aldrich for about 8 years.
I'm Katelyn Tripp. I am a geotechnical and environmental engineer at Aldrich, and I've been here for about 15 years.
And we're here to tell you a story about a field trip from a couple of years ago in Boston. So for my part, I was at a site in the Boston Seaport District observing concrete diaphragm slurry wall installation. And really, for all intents and purposes, it was a pretty normal day, except for the fact that we noticed there were a lot of helicopters flying overhead. I mean, a lot, not just, one or two. They were around and they were circling around, and we thought, gosh, it seems like there's something going on. I wonder what it is.
So back at the office, we got a call from our client that the wooden hull of a ship was uncovered in the excavation. And the portion of the ship that was uncovered was 47 feet long and 15 feet wide. So our client asked us to visit the site to observe what was going on and what was uncovered from an environmental perspective, and to look back at our records to see if there was any evidence of this remnant ship. So we dug into our files, and just to set the story, this particular project was a new commercial development in the seaport. Development in 2015 in the seaport was buzzing. There were lots of excavations and cranes. Our client in particular wanted to build this building faster than their neighbors, so they undertook this project in a modified top-down construction approach to get it to market quicker. So the top-down construction in Boston, if you're not familiar, is conducted by installing a concrete diaphragm or slurry wall around the excavation from the existing ground surface, then using floor slabs as bracing members for the slurry wall to excavate down, while also proceeding with above grade steel construction. So our client wanted to capitalize on this procedure. So before any bulk excavation happened at the site, we conducted 19 test borings. There were 28 slurry panels installed and 50 load-bearing element panels installed from ground surface. So that's a lot of holes we poked before we started digging. And once the excavator was digging down to the first parking level, they uncovered the outline of a schooner, and we were able to see where our load-bearing elements had dug right through this boat. And our test borings went right through this location. So we took out those pictures, and sure enough, there was wood. There was burnt ash and debris because this boat was likely burnt as part of why it may have sank. And there was also a mysterious white substance. So we saw these all as pictures coming right out of the clamshell bucket. We noted them in our panel reports, but it's not too uncommon in the seaport to hit some unusual buried materials. I've worked on about a half dozen projects in the seaport, and we've found, a granite block seawall supported on wood piles. We've found rail ties. We've found wooden piers. So we know to expect a little bit of the unexpected, and we do We do a fair amount of historical research, particularly using gaining ground before we undertake these projects. So we try to correlate the best we can to how history may have impacted our site before we undertake the excavation. But that being said, no one had predicted that we would uncover a ship. That was a new one for us. And we were lucky to be working with a great client, Skanska. Skanska was the developer, but they were also the construction manager, and they had a site work entity, Skanska Civil, that was doing the excavation. So they were really able to respond quickly to this ship because they had a team approach and they really wanted to do the right thing. They were invested in the seaport and they wanted to see the city of Boston, gain this information. So as the archaeologists proceeded with their excavation, we were called out to the site as the environmental consultant to review the wood barrels inside the ship. So these wood barrels were 18 inches wide and 30 inches long, and they were filled with a mix of soil from filling this site and lime. And the archaeologists had determined that the ship was actually a 19th century lime schooner. And that lime was used as a building material in Boston in the early 19th century. So it was from Rockport, Maine, and brought down to Boston. And now here we are finding barrels of this material 12 to 15 feet below grade. So as we went to the site and we sampled this mix of soil and lime, and we submitted that for lab testing. And we were able to work with the client and the contractor to ship this material from the barrels to an out-of-state recycling facility. So actually fairly quickly, Skanska made room for the archaeologists. They were able to do some work within the excavation, and then they removed large portions of the ship for the archaeologists to investigate off-site and out of the way of their excavation. So all in all, there was a bit of a construction delay, but it was relatively short. It was about 2 weeks or so, and our client got a lot of good publicity and a little bit of goodwill from the city of Boston. And our team worked diligently to characterize the barrels of lime, and we had another chance to recognize that you truly never know what you will find below grade.
There you go. And that's our field trip story. Thanks.
Thanks, Wystan.
Field Trips is a production of ASCE and the Geo-Institute.